Take two.
Take two. Like this, David? Yeah.
Intensity.
Yeah. So, consequences by which we experience result. The top three, I covered them slightly last week. But in essence, the first one says there's three ways that you'll experience the consequences of the karmas you're recording. Some of them are in this lifetime. Some of them are in
Next
lifetime, and some of them, which is the second one, and the third one is
I guess I'll see you again next lifetime.
in the second or beyond, future life past the second. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's three ways to understand the consequences of your karma. There are some that if you do them in a certain way, must ripen in this lifetime. Pay attention, because this is the code for the secret teachings. This is the only reason Tantra works. This is the only reason the secret teachings can turn this kind of human existence to an enlightened state in this very lifetime. So if you want to understand anything about karma, besides the basics that we're covering, you want to dive into what will produce results in this lifetime. We'll cover them in 3 minutes. Boom. 4 kinds of karma that must ripen, meaning the seed is there. It won't just at some point could turn out to be a bad seed, or could take a long time to ripen. This must ripen. Okay, these 4 are shuk, drapo. That means fierce force, and this is when it has a strong emotion, a strong energy behind it. When you're charged up doing these karmas, yeah. Doing these karmas means thinking of anything with intention, saying anything with strong intention, or pushing somebody away or hugging somebody away with strong intention. Could be positive or negative, virtuous and non-virtuous. Could be a mind, of speech, or a body. Anything with a deeply strong intention must give you a result. Okay? That's the first one. The second one is a good quality basis is what Yongten Yishi means. Good personal quality basis. What that means is that anything done towards an extraordinary high object, something that's so deeply important that you are perceiving as being important, must also ripen. So the second type of karma that must ripen, that won't stay latent, that won't take a long time, it must ripen. Anything done towards a high object. In this example, they use the 3 jewels. The 3 jewels because they're the ultimate. The emptiness of mind, the fact that things are empty, and the beings that understand emptiness. Anything done towards those 3 things must ripen. Absolutely, it can be apparent. Anything that's deeply important to you, that you perceive as validly heightened. Yeah? If you hurt a doctor, for example, so let's say you had to hurt something. You have a choice, hurt a doctor or hurt a dog. Something inside you knows unconsciously that this doctor could save many lives. Something inside you knows that the dog is forever chewing other things. You don't want to hurt either. But some part of you knows, without speaking, without being conscious, that the qualities of a doctor in your life are infinitely more beneficial than the qualities of, unless it's Lassie. Yeah? Number 3. Something committed over and 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 over again. I made a point verbally. Anything that builds habit will become stronger over time. This is what addictions are. Yeah? This must ripen. This is what people can't control. I mean, if you have any kind of addiction, if you smoke, if you drank, if you have any kind of, and this can be addictive thoughts. You know, addictive thoughts about yourself or others. Anything that you do habitually must ripen to produce more of the same, which is what Emily was saying. I will keep you at least 5 more minutes, probably 10. Yeah? You're welcome to leave at any time. and to that was stupid. Anything done, this last one, which is interesting, this is in the 4th chapter of the Abhidhammakosha. What will definitely ripen into results? Go to the right thing, yeah, you know. Parma Super. Parma Super. Geshe Michael tells a story where he was trying to get into an advanced Tibetan course in India, and you had to speak a certain level of Tibetan, and he didn't speak that level of Tibetan, so they asked him all these questions in Tibetan. He didn't understand what they were saying. So then the Rinpoche says, "How do you say Ma and Papa in Tibetan?" And he goes, "Oh, Ma, Pa." He goes, "Right, you're in." So Pa means father, Ma means mother, Supa means killing. So killing your mother and father are a highly toxic, strong karma, because they produce this very body. Whether they were nice to you or shitty to you makes no difference. There's something, like the doctor example, there's something inside of you knows that these two creatures made your body, made your essence. So, and I need to make this point. In the Abhidhammakosha, it says, even if it's done with virtuous intent. So, yeah, euthanasia, for example. Even if it's done with a virtuous intent, killing your mother or father will be a horrible result and definitely ripen. So it's in the collection of definitely ripen. But the reason I want to make the point about, because they took the time, Master Vasudhan took the time to say, from the other 7 scriptures, even if it's done with good intent, with virtuous intent. And this is important because it should pitch you into the thinking. You know, I was close to this situation when I saw my dad pass away. I was very close to the situation. I had to be pitched to this thinking, what do you think happens to them if they're suffering and you pull the plug? What is it that I thought would happen the very next moment?
Suffering would end.
You must think that.
Yeah.
But you must think that the suffering stops and everyone is free floating in, I don't know, particles of nothing. I don't know what we think. I know part of me had that belief, you know, and I had to correct it with my understanding of, if the mind is a continuous stream, one after the other, that is carried by the movements of the mind from the previous moment to the next, they must have some existence in the next few minutes. It's not like they're going to stop. This is the big fundamental difference. Like, what do you think happens when you die? So it's important to think about here, and it's so important that they made a specific line, even if it's with virtuous intent. The same for suicide, killing your own body. Anything that's close to enlightenment. Look at the number of creatures crawling the planet, humans, animals, insects, everything sentient. You are so close to a state of enlightenment. Forget that it's a Buddhist idea or an Indian idea. Close to being free from suffering. You're so close. They say it's like the arrow that's just about to hit the paper. Like you're almost touching. Out of all the possible ways you could be, you are this close to destroy your body and your capacity to go through the paper. Is an infinite mystery. It's a horrible thing. It must produce equally opposite results. You must have some kind of idea about that stick into your mind. Here we go. Woo. 2 things that will make karma ripen in this lifetime. You want to know this part? Yeah? So, Shingi Kepa, say that?
Shingi Kepa.
And Sampe Kirpa.
Sampe Kirpa.
The first one is close to the other division. So in the 4th chapter, there's line after line after line after line, and you can divide karma this way, you can divide karma this way, there are 4 of this, there are 3 of that, and we're just giving you the summary of these. Yeah? So this is another way of dividing karma. 2 that will ripen in this lifetime. So Shin means object, and Gikirpa means distinctive, and this is another iteration of a high object. Yeah? A very high being. So anything in your world that appears as a precious someone, mother or father, if you've had any kind of teacher in your life, whether it's your high school teacher, anything that has produced the capacity to cognize, to link things together, the plus or minus, and who taught you that? It's grown inside of you. Who's taught us how to put words together and concepts into language? And anyone that's ever taught you anything is a high object like this. Of course, the highest object would be
understanding
and to understanding their emptiness, the emptiness of your teacher. That's good too. Anything else?
Yeah.
That could be one. Yeah. That's one of the highest objects.
What?
The Buddha.
3 jewels. 3 jewels.
Your jewels.
Yeah.
The Dharma Sangha in the correct way. Yeah. Not in the object way. The most ultimate of all ultimate things is going to produce the most ultimate result. So emptiness being the thing that is everything, and any kind of action towards that, whether it's understanding it a lot or a little bit or a medium bit, any action towards that makes it necessarily a high object if you truly believe you're decoding reality. If you think you're just doing something because your neighbor likes it, then you're doing something because your neighbor likes it. That's not a high object. But if you truly believe you're on the verge of piercing through reality, if you really think this is the answer, that's a high object. So that's why I wanted to sort of remove the idea of this is Buddhism or this is that. It's not that. If your mind is on the verge of understanding where your world comes from, if you're ever at any point close to thinking, I can truly stop suffering, I can truly get free from all suffering and help every other living being, if you really believe, that's a high object. And if emptiness is a thing explaining that, any action towards that must ripen in this lifetime. That's what I'm saying. That's amazing. Mother and father, any kind of high object. So for me, the highest object is Geshe Michael Roach. Because I would not have these perceptions, these ideas. My world would never be unfolding in the way that it's beautifully unfolding about the veils of reality peeling off this shitty existence and entering into moments of bliss that I never thought were possible. As we see the rest of us being pushed to our death, because that's all we are. We're here for a few minutes on this planet and we're all on a conveyor belt to death. Someone on this planet allowed me, injected me with an idea that said it's possible to be free from that. And after 17 years, I believed them. That's a high object. Any action towards that creature must produce a result in this lifetime. I hope you get a creature like that in your world. The next one is with extraordinary motivation. So Sampai Gyurpa means anything with extraordinary motivation, anything outside the ordinary. This is Tantra. Anything that really removes you from the realm of suffering. Anything that your energy is so purely, strongly intended beyond all things, and you're doing that action, must give you a result in this lifetime. So if you want to figure out how to get a result in this lifetime, there's some, and examples of powerful objects are there's 4 beings, I'm not sure if it's in the homework, they're those that have done cessation meditation, which means they're close to nirvana, immeasurable love meditation, which means they're very close to emptiness or bodhicitta. They've either seen emptiness directly or become arhats, which means they've reached nirvana. Any being that's recently come out of that state naturally makes them special beings. So what does that mean to you? In terms of concentric circles, anybody that's on the verge of producing a magnificent world with insight becomes an important object for you. Yeah? So when you're choosing your karmas, it's important whom you're doing what actions to. Yeah? If you want results in this lifetime. And lastly, we have, you know what numbing is, don't you? From last week. What's a numbing? Numbing. A ripening. And this is from some Kappas, Jason Kappas, Lammer and Chemo. This is another 3 ways of splitting karma. The way they ripen, anything with a strong emotion must ripen, depending on your motivation. Gyutun means corresponding, meaning that the result must be similar, it will ripen similar to the cause. So if you're angry, you must experience anger. If you're kind, you must experience kindness. If you're generous, you must experience generosity. And so, reverse engineering, how did you end up with this life you have? Where did the hot water come from? Where did your friendships come from? Where does your good health come from? And you should rejoice in that. You should feel goodness, that you must have done something, that there is some part of you that is good, that has produced this thing, that those things are driving you. That why are you here? Jepa means the second part of Gyutun. It's 2 parts to Gyutun. One was similar experience, the other one is creates the habit. So again, you will have the habit to be kind, and you will have the habit to, yeah? Does that make sense? And the last one is your environment must ripen so that you have the conditions to play out that karma. Yeah? So if you're generous, then you must have the karma ripen to have abundance in your world, then your environment must also play out to be available for you to have that abundance, meaning you will have opportunity for work and your friends will be rich. No, I don't know. Your environment must ripen in the same way to allow those karmas to ripen. So the conditions are right. And then in the end of your reading, which I highly recommend you go to our new website, which has the readings and homeworks for you to download, and that's om-pl.webs.com. You can just download homeworks and readings. At the end of the reading, you've got Jetson Kappas doing the correlations. I'll cover them next week. The karmic correlations between those 10 misdeeds and how your world becomes the way it is based on those 10 misdeeds. So for example, killing. If you did a really strong killing, that you must have a result, like you would highly premeditated killing with all the evil intent, you must ripen into an experience of the hell realms. If you did a killing that was sort of intentional but sort of half-assed, you would get a result in the hungry ghost realms. And then if you did it ignorantly, meaning you didn't realize you were hurting somebody, but you killed somebody, you might end up in the animal realms. There's correlations at the end of your readings that describe what happens if you plant all these karmas on stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, ill will, etc., and how they appear in your universe. Sorry to keep you longer than expected. Let's dedicate any goodness that flowed through your mind, any goodness at all, any movement of your mind that said, this is awesome, I can get free from suffering and help my mum. If you thought of others, amazing. If you didn't, think of them now and spread that to everybody on this planet that needs it.
Sashi Buki Jishin Metotram Virabling Shin Indegim Adi Sange Shindu Nite Wagi Drokun Manda Shinmaju Pasho Iranguratnamandala Kanyatayami Kevadi Kyokun Sunanyashe Soksochin Sunanyashe Rejunwe Rampa Kuni Topasho.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for teaching.
And for those of you who want to stay an extra 5 minutes and have a look at the actual Abhidhamma Koja, I've got a sample of it here, and then you'll be happy that someone else is teaching it to you.